Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Committee members, once again, I'm Ron Allen. I'm the chair for the Jamestown S'Klallam Tribe located in western Washington State. This testimony that I'm providing you is coming as a alternate commissioner representing 25 tribes in the Northwest, and one of them is in Alaska, the Metlakatla community in Southeast Alaska. And it's specifically about the U.S.-Canada Pacific Salmon Treaty that was negotiated back in 1985. And every 10 years, we renegotiate chapters that control each of the species. So the Chinook, Coho, Chum, Sockeye, and Pink fisheries are all in different chapters, and they're all controlled by those chapters. And we use 10-year regimes because it allows us to go through a couple of cycles and partial cycle, and then it helps us decide what we're going to do next. We just had it took us 2 years to negotiate this new set of chapters with regard to each of these species. It's a very complicated process. Over the years, I've been involved since '85 when we negotiated, and I've been in different forums. You basically have a commission that oversees the whole treaty, and then you have these panels that control different areas from Alaska to the lower 48. And it's a very complicated arena. So the ask that we have, most people don't realize that in this international forum, a number of different appropriation committees have jurisdiction over these forums. So the International Forum is the State Department, and that controls the International Secretariat Office and their budget. And then the states are involved, and the state receives a fair amount of resources from Commerce. So and then NOAA is involved. So NOAA, National Marine Fishery, should be Indian, but it's not. National Marine Fisheries folks are involved as well. And so their money comes through the Commerce, which is the bigger chunk of change when it comes to implementing the treaty. But for the tribes, and then as well as U.S. Fish and Wildlife, it comes through Interior. And we currently receive around $4.3 million for the 25 tribes, and we're asking for close to $1 million increase in it. So you have my testimony and a little more details in the testimony, but I need the committee to understand why it's so important for the tribes to be engaged. We receive resources in order to manage our natural resource responsibilities, everything from finfish to shellfish within the lower 48 in our usual and accustomed territory. But in this international forum, we have to be involved in a very complex forum. Each of these species and each of the stocks of the species has to be monitored. They're tagged, and you discern who's catching what fish in Alaska, British Columbia, and lower 48. And this time we negotiated a new metric system. In the testimony, I refer to it as CYER. It's a calendar year exploitation rate, and it's complicated. And so everybody has to have a role. Well, the tribes have a critical role because we're on every river, and so we know what's coming back and how they're fishing. And more often than not, when you think of the stock comes out of our river system, we call it gravel to gravel. And so the fish goes up north, it gets intercepted, and then it gets intercepted before it gets back to us. And then we have to make sure we're the last in line. We have to make sure that escapement goals get up there. Well, on top of that, so that's a harvest management role. This is a harvest management treaty. That's its role. Then there's the habitat side of it. We call it the 4-H's, the habitat side, the hatchery side, and the hydro side. So they all play roles with regard to the welfare of salmon in the Northwest. And so the main point is this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's essential that the tribes be involved. We are always at the cutting edge and the front lines with regard to what works, what doesn't work, and how do we modify these systems. So we're asking for help so that we have the resources to be able to counter or complement the state and the federal government with regard to the welfare of salmon. And one of our good mentors and friends from the Northwest, Billy Frank Jr., always refers to us as the salmon people. And so we think that we're the canary in the Northwest with regard to the health of salmon for the Northwest. Thank you.